How's everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone's doing well. So today's vlog is gonna be a filler series, which means it's a break from my documentation vlog for 2024. So it's gonna runs from 8th of April till 19th of April, and hopefully by the 22nd of April I will come back with a regular programming of just vlogging my 40th year in 2024. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy this. So I'm just taking a picture here so that I have a thumbnail. I want to talk about, I basically just brainstorm of what things I want to talk about. To be honest, it's not, I'm working under pressure here. Anyway, isn't this cool? $65 one came up. So I want to talk about whether I wasted my 30s or not. I haven't really thought this through. To be honest, I have tried thinking about it, but I haven't really reached the end or even 1/10. I feel like I spent a few seconds on it and then it just kind of stops. It doesn't want to go further. Because as you know, as an autistic person, I like to think. And right now I am exploiting that particular aspect of my brain. So I basically spent my 30s in my room. Literally in my room. I did not, because I started my 30s 2014 with, after 2 years being unemployed, and my money had run out by then because I was I always have savings when I worked, because I never really spent much money when I worked back to my 30s. So by then, I wasn't doing anything, and I was still coping. I wasn't coping well with the grief of losing my mother, like my mom's death. So I was still, I think it just kept going, like the grief kept going for another 5, 6 years, 8 years. So I wasn't expecting that long of a grief period, and I didn't expect for myself to go through that grieving period. From that experience, I learned that grieving, especially your mother, is a physical experience. Something happened to your brain. As an autistic person, I didn't realize that was like the pincher moment that kind of like pulled everything from under me, and everything just collapsed. So after 2 years of basically not sure what's going on, I realized it doesn't really matter what you do, you just pick something and just stick with it. So that's what I did in early 2014. When I started my 30s, I picked something which was opening Society 6, which is an art shop that I still have right now, society6.com/Valerie. So it's still ongoing. And from then on, for the past 10 years, it went downhill. It went downhill further than that. I spent basically for the next 4 years probably. From then on, I wasn't in a good place at all. I didn't have money to buy food, as I said before, and I didn't have any kind of luck trying out the Society 6 because I wasn't eating well, I didn't have any income, and my mental health wasn't really good. And if you don't eat, your mental health is going to get worse, because you're basically going to end up with anxiety-induced starvation. So from then on, and it was like a very vicious cycle, because if you don't eat, you can't function, and if you can't function, you can't find any kind of employment to eat, basically. And by this stage, I was kind of like, oh, let's just find some job, like what kind of job, whatever kind of job. So I kind of like pulled myself out of the thickness of trying to make it by myself, trying to make my mark in the world, trying to be, very independent about it all. Because when you're 30, because like by this stage I felt like if I didn't do it now, I will never going to do it ever. And because I felt like by that stage, in my 40s, I'm not able to start over because I will not have the energy, which I think I was correct, because right now I am so happy that the 30-year-old me made that decision, because I would not have the courage to do that now. Like, are you insane? If I had work, yes, I would have money, but I'll probably be sick and bedridden and hospitalized and be on, like, okay, I am still on like a lot of medication. I'm on supplements, but I'm not on prescription medication, which I don't know. Can it be potentially addictive? I don't know. But so like, and you would probably end up the same place as I am, which is like not being able to work and not being able to do anything at all. So I kind of just, I think, accelerated that process a bit, rather than waiting for people to do it for me. Because with the current, with so many people being entrenched right now, being let go from their jobs, you can see like the current trend of employment. It's like, it's not an employment anymore, it's a project. Like, how long are they going to employ you for this project that they currently have? So they're probably going to employ you for 2-3 years and they'll you being let go. And job security, getting a real job, is a myth now. And it's, that's what I believe anyway. So I was just accelerating where I am in life, I suppose. And did you know that was a cup stopper? I did not know that was the function. I just realized, oh, you plug it in there? Anyway, so by the time I was starting my society6.com, I just thought, well, people just want to know what you do for money, and people don't really care at the end of the day what you actually do. You just have to be able to answer the name, like, to the question. So I can just answer, well, I'm just selling my stuff online and that's how I make money. So, because at the end of the day, my thought back then was saying, your job is whatever that makes you money, because you can have a career, you can have a job. A job, basically, you just do it because you need money, right? So I just have that train of thinking, all right, so this is just how I'm gonna make money. Although I didn't really make money until like, I don't know, half a decade later. But that's also because I was spending my time dealing with a lot of other things. I felt like I was in the spiritual initiation phase from like 30 to 35. So from 2004, 14 to 2019-ish. I don't know. I feel like the past half a decade, like the past 5 years, because of COVID, don't really count. So I felt like I only spent 5 years in my 30s, despite having a full decade under my belt. But that's how I feel. So I just spent the first half of my 30s trying not to die, mainly because I was starving to death, and there was no one in my immediate surrounding whatsoever. So there was no family, there was no friends, because by this stage all my friends either moved out of the country or have families and live so far away, and I didn't really maintain contact mainly because of the previous 2 years. You know, I spent my 20s working and everyone else also working or getting married and having kids. You kind of lose touch with a lot of people, and that's just the way it is. So by the time I was in my early 30s, there was no one to talk to, there was no one there inside my home. So there is this card that I'm gonna use and just sit down. Oh yeah, I'm outside. I'm just sitting down, and so I wasn't, because I can't talk in the Starbucks because it was too loud. So I'm just sitting here with my coffee. I need to do a lot of errands as well, like to get ready for tomorrow. My tomorrow, not your tomorrow, because this will be posted on the 10th of April, I think. So everything from the next 2 weeks, from the 8th of April to the 19th of April, will be recorded in one day, which is on the 7th of April. So I know I'm not being clear, but I just grouped up that 5 years, from 30 years to 35, is my period of starvation, spiritual initiation. There was a lot of moments when I'm by myself. I was listening to Joel Ministries, you know, that evangelical minister, a lot of Joyce Myers, a lot of like ministerial evangelical things on YouTube that basically say, if you believe, God will deliver. Basically that's how I spent my 2014 while I'm painting a big ass painting in my room, having this delusional fantasy that I'm gonna sell all these paintings. There are so many people walking in front of me right now, and I'm just like sitting here recording and drinking coffee. I feel like a freak, but hey, we gotta do what we gotta do. And I think from 2016 to 2018, I guess, I started streaming on Africa TV. So from 32 to 34ish, started streaming from Africa TV, which is kind of like a YouTube, but it's like a Twitch for a Korean platform, and they started rolling out the global version, or at least trying out the global market. So I signed on that and just live stream, and I found a good community there that kind of like, it's the same people over and over again. It's not a big audience, but the people who kind of hang around in that particular platform was very small, and mostly are Asian Americans. Or yeah, so I kind of played there. I think there is this archive. I think if you go to my YouTube channel and go to the oldest video, there is this trying durian mochi. That video is basically basically one of the stream that I did for Africa TV, because you can record it and put it in an archive and upload it to YouTube. So I did that, and you can see how skinny I was because I wasn't eating at all. I was using any meal that I had at that time to stream, because mukbang was just starting as a thing back then. So mukbang is like eating show in Korea, so it was still quite early, I think. It's not catching on to the mainstream YouTube like they do now. Back then it was just still strictly like Korean culture-based content. So any kind of money I have to buy food, when I'm eating, I will stream it. So if I only stream once a day for eating, that means I only ate that one day and that meal. And which is why probably I'm really comfortable eating on screen, because that's how I started. So it has been 6 years now since that particular period. So this was 34, and by the time 35, my Society 6 and my Redbubbles and all my stores are starting to kick into gear. So actually cash flow is starting to come in, because you know why? Because I started eating. My brain started working, and I started watching a lot of videos and a lot of YouTube videos how to get that started in the very basic level. Even now it's still very difficult. And I think I also utilize the power of Pinterest, which back then was still working. So as long as you post something to Pinterest from your website, it's easy traffic. People just go in. And Redbubble hasn't really gone into a lot of legal trouble like they do now. And so I did that hustle for about a year or 2 years, and until I was in 2020, 36. That's when the pandemic hit, and that's when my print-on-demand business and my other businesses. Also, I started with selling my digital design online, and so by 2020, my print-on-demand business kind of like carried me through that 2 years of the pandemic, because the cash flow was coming in. I could take a break from being financially stressed for a little bit, for a year or two, and I started doing all my digital asset back then. So back after this, and then that's how. And now the print-on-demand business is really not existential anymore. Well, my Society 6 is still existential. It still kind of work because it's my main brand and my first child, I guess, my first love child with the online business. But Redbubble has died down a lot, and it has a lot of problems. And now I am being carried by my digital assets business, which means I sell my SVG, my PNG. It's in my link tree. You can check it out, and that's what carried me for now. But even that is going downwards as well. So I'm learning, in my late 30s, that doesn't last forever, that nothing lasts forever, that everything has a peak and then it will go down, and you always have to find a way to find new things. And I think that kind of circle back to that myth of employments as well. Like even now, if you're being employed, it's probably going to last 2-3 years before they let you go. And that's about right with the businesses that I have now. So yeah, so now the digital assets business the cash flow wise is going down as well. I am trying to monetize my YouTube so that hopefully it generates enough cash flow to carry me for the next 3-4 years. So I guess if I summarize it like that, my 30s is not really wasted. It was more a very difficult time building a foundation for myself without any kind of support in a place where it looks more like a darkness, an abyss of darkness that doesn't have any bottom. And for some reason I managed to grab on the little sanity that I had left and crawl a little bit out of it, I guess. I don't know if I'm out of it yet. Maybe I'm having a hangover from my 30s right now. I'm still not sure what's happening. But yeah, I know that's probably not enough explanations or briefing about what my 30s is like. But now after I am talking it out like a crazy person in a random, this is basically where I am. So people are walking in and out so yeah, so I'm just outside here. Yeah, so yeah, that's just briefing about my 30s. Hopefully you guys enjoy. I think I'm gonna talk about my water fasting after this. So yeah, tune in to the next video, guys. I'll see you later.